Welcome back to even more Let's Beat the Final Boss in Shantae Risky's Revenge. I'm Nai.
I'm not sure. I'm Mako, and I'm not sure you can call it that because we're into like hour 4 and we still haven't done that. So
Yeah, well, our attempts to beat the final boss, maybe. So I forget where I was driving. I know what it is. I was in a... When I was on a business trip in Anaheim, I saw a hotel, well, more a pub with a name, and I first went, how did they come up with this? And second of all, does this increase business or not? So the place's name was the Comeback Inn.
huh?
And so, like, you know, obviously these cute names, I've seen them before, I've seen places that have them, you know, but number one, you gotta ask, how long does it take to come up with that? But also, do you think that actually increases business, or do people groan and move on to the next one, which at least says, let's get drunk in?
I think it might depend on your tolerance for that sort of thing.
And yes, this was all I had to say on that one. I just wanted to bring that up.
Like kitsch naming is a thing. It's a thing that people use. It's a thing that I'm fairly certain some people would like to see.
Just watch.
Cast
You need to
in the
watch
sun.
her belly button in this. She only does it in this scene, where she grows a second belly button.
I see what you mean. The sprites glitching. Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
But it's only there when she gets onto her. When she gets onto the thing. You know, she's in a different sprite because now she has her sword. But I also noticed that she has a much darker belly button than Shantae does.
Her flesh is pallid. What did you expect?
Well, yes, but so Shantae has a tan skin and she has a tan belly button. So doesn't that mean that Risky should have a white belly button because she has white skin? She shouldn't have a black belly button unless her belly button is literally the abyss. Just one of those things. I was talking a couple episodes back, you know, I always enjoy watching speedruns because I think they're always fun. And so I watch the Shantae speedrun, thing like that. So I was watching, you know, I was finishing up watching the final stuff from SGDQ 2016. And I was watching their Metroid run. And if you've seen this particular Metroid run they did, it was Super Metroid. It was a 4-player race. And, okay, I'm just taking hits, apparently. It was a 4-player race. 3 of the players died. And 1 player, I swear, was on world record pace. And it was just one of those things I was sitting there going, you know... And the player who ended up winning was actually who not only won the race, but actually successfully won the game, was the player who was actually in last, and he was being made fun of consistently for having these slower strats of his that are safer. Not like made fun of like in a negative way necessarily, but the you know, the announcers would be talking about what the speedy players were doing, and they'd mention casually how he has a different thing that he's doing. And then all of a sudden he wins.
Slow and steady wins the race, man.
I guess. But I was just sitting here going, you know, are the speedy players embarrassed that I mean, keep in mind the announcers, even before anybody started to die, mentioned that the races for Super Metroid have a 50% forfeit rate because you die so easily. So, you know, they said this even before anybody died. So the fact that so many people died, like, it was understandable because they had mentioned this ahead of time. But it was still one of those things, like, you know, I guess you use the risky strats to try to win the race and get the world record time, but this guy actually succeeded, you know? Like, no, damn. Mistimed my jump there. She needs to have some way to get health back on her fight. You know, you never really appreciate those bosses until you fight a boss who doesn't. Bosses that give you the ability to get health back and stuff like that during their fight.
Yeah.
Or even just games where you can get health back. I mean, you know, Shantae does let you do that. I'm just choosing not to because I'm an idiot. But, let's be honest. But, mini games, stuff like Kingdom Hearts, for example, where you just have this heal that you can just heal yourself. All of a sudden, the bosses are no longer this gigantic pain in the ass because you can heal yourself.
I was going to say more with the exception of the very first one, more or less an unlimited number of times.
Yep. Well, even the first one you could still heal about an unlimited number of times. It just was a little bit harder to get it.
Well, the first one you technically had to play with MP. The rest of them, like since then,
the first one you by the end of the game you have MP Rage.
That's true.
If you choose not to equip it, that's your own damn fault. This is something I need to get around to doing. I need to play Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Because I've had it, we just haven't been able to record off of systems. Well, now I should be able to do that.
By the time you get to that 2.8, it'll be out.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's already been pushed back until next year.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's now January.
Good
January
grief.
24th. And there's a chance it could get pushed back further than that, I think.
I had not heard that.
Yep. Happened a couple weeks ago. As of the time of this recording, obviously. Who knows when this is actually going up? I do, but still.
Okay, well, that means that of the things that I'm waiting for, like, I have 2 things that are still coming out this year, and that's it.
So, Last Guardian, obviously. And
No,
Final
actually.
Fantasy. No?
Like I say, I will believe Last Guardian when I can see it.
Man, it must suck to be as pessimistic as you are.
I have heard that. Final Fantasy is one of them, and the other Shantae is the new Shantae.
Yeah.
Everything else that I'm waiting for
But the new Shantae got pushed back, too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's November, but...
November, as I said, it's still within the year.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay,
the only other
she
major
runs. Okay, there we
title
go.
I think I'm waiting
Okay,
for...
let's get out of the way of this one.
I was going to say, the only other title I'm waiting for, major title I'm waiting for is Yakuza 0.
Yeah, I have no idea when that's coming out.
Like, sometime next year, last I checked.
Okay, do things I want you to do. Okay, that was a weird hit.
I'm willing to wait on the Yakuza 0, though, because they take their time to get the localization right.
That's good to know.
And honestly, it's a game that, you really need to get the localization right for.
Okay, what are you doing? Okay, monkey bullet. Okay, let's... I am amazed I didn't take hits off of that. I am annoyed that I took hits off of that. Okay. Monkey bullet again. Okay, run through. Get away from this. I don't know how I jumped into that.
Too high.
Apparently. Monkey bullet. Oh, crap. Okay.
Damn it.
I don't know how I didn't clear that. Like, I really don't.
It clipped your heels.
Okay. So over the past couple of months, I do mean months, so I have this gigantic music library that I've had for years and years and years. Back when, most kids still downloaded stuff. I don't know, some kids still do, but I stopped doing that because I started learning I wanted to support the artist. But I still have just tons and tons of music. So I went through and I started tagging everything and used a multitude of different programs, like get the artists right, get the the correct album, things like that. And I learned that a lot of my stuff was tagged wrong, but it's gotten more interesting because I've had a lot of songs that I thought were just random remixes, which turn out to be actual like full-on songs on full-on albums and things like that. And my original plan, I haven't been able to make this work yet. My original plan was I saw some programs that would auto tag your music with tags a lot of people have made. So my plan was to make tag-based playlists on, like, you know, exciting or violins or stuff like that, and I've never been able to make it work. But I finally got around to it, you know, I'm getting close to being done. Now I'm just going through. I still have 8,000 songs in my library that I have not rated or anything yet, and chances are that's probably 8,000 songs I probably either have doubles of or have never listened to. So occasionally when I have time, when I'm not doing anything else, like when I'm reading or when I'm, you know, playing a game that I don't have to focus too deeply on, I go through and I start listening, I start tagging stuff and rating stuff and stuff like that. For you, Mako, how important is that sort of stuff?
Kinda. Like, I like to know what my music is, but that's about as far as it goes. As long as I can tell what the music is and, you know, find it when I want to listen to a specific thing, that's sufficient for me. If it's really, really special music to me, then, you know, that changes, but...
I know once upon a time it didn't matter to me what the, like, album was. Like, when I was a kid, I would just throw on a random album, and I had an entire album just called Techno, which is just the random songs. I didn't know what they were, or maybe in some cases I did know what they were, but it was only one song from an album, and I didn't want to have extra empty albums in my in my collection. And now I'm actually going back and fixing them and going like, no, this is what this should be. I want this to be correct now. It got pretty bad because Mako, you know they had the new Toho game came out in the United States pretty recently, right?
The shooting fighter one?
The shooting fighter one.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So I picked it up because I was curious. And one of the things it came with is a soundtrack. Which I thought was pretty cute, too, because the game goes on about how telling you the proper name for curtain hell shooters is Danmaku.
Mm-hmm.
So the soundtrack is called Danmak Music. Yeah, I thought the same thing. What got cuter about it is, so when I put it on my computer could not recognize what this CD was, where it came from. There was no information in online about it, so I had to go and fill it out manually to fill out every single section of the rip because it didn't know what the songs were called, things like that. And I will say I'm kind of disappointed in that game.
Honestly, I see where they were going with it, but I'm not. I certainly wasn't looking for it. The one I'm waiting for, I'm not sure if it's out yet or if it's like still coming, like, or if it's still out coming. There's supposed to be a Mysterious Dungeon sort of action shooter Mysterious Dungeon version coming out real soon.
Of a Toho game?
Yes.
That seems very weird. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Oh, there's several of different versions. Like there's been all sorts of different. Toho has hit almost every genre there is now.
I'm just my problem with the game. So among other things, number one is the my first problem with the game is that the storylines are like, I've only done one so far, but the storyline is boring. Like I forget what her name is. Is it Reimu? Who's the no, it's not Reimu. It's who's the temple guardian? The human temple guardian.
That's Reimu.
That's Reimu?
The black hair, red.
Yeah, okay.
Red
so
yeah, that's Reimu.
Reimu, her entire storyline is that her temple is no longer getting visitors. So she goes and attacks literally everybody, claiming they're the cause of it. And it turns out the cause of it is that she's not attacking yokai the way she's supposed to. And so nobody thinks her temple is safe, so nobody's coming. That's the entire story. Which is
more or less, I was gonna say, which is more or less like the truth. This is one of the reasons Reimu's temple gets no visitors is because she's freaking lazy.
Well, but then the rest, the epilogue of the storyline is she goes and destroys every yokai who shows up in her temple, which means her temple looks like a war zone, and still no one shows up because now it looks like a war zone. Mm-hmm. That is her storyline. But it just didn't feel like the story there wasn't as much dialogue as there was in the actual shooter versions. I'm just gonna die here, apparently. I'm just doing badly. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she changed directions in the middle of that. That was interesting.
The rule of thumb usually in most of them is usually there is an incident
Which is what they call it, which is hilarious.
That is literally that is what they call them, incidents, capital I incidents. There is an incident, one or more of the heroines goes together and they go off to exterminate whatever the cause is. And again, exterminate is a term they use, which basically means finding whoever's responsible and giving them a right proper thumping.
Which is basically what ends up happening in this.
Yeah.
So, but like, there's only maybe 3 lines of dialogue between each fight, not the kind of longer setups that I'm used to. So that's already a problem. The tutorial was a joke. The tutorial was I forget the I don't know the characters' names very well. The ghostly, I guess, princess who has the defender with 2 swords. Yukari and oh god, I can't remember the ghost girl's name. Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
So the 2 of them are teaching you how to play, but it is an entire non-interactive tutorial. It is a video tutorial that you'd expect out of a arcade game. So, now, see, lots of dialogue.
See, one of the games that I've actually been watching a Let's Play someone else has been doing of this. You familiar with the Etrian Odyssey style games? Yeah.
Heard of them, never got into them.
Or the Wizardry style games. It's an RPG using that, and it does very well because they have, such a huge cast. Every single character is recruitable.
I have heard that.
But no, the other English one we're supposed to be getting is basically it's a bullet hell roguelike with starring Vermilia Scarlet and the maid.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Basically boiling down to, good God, we're bored. Oh hey, this thing just happened.
Yeah. Well, I think my other problem with the game, so part of it is the storyline, but part of it is the actual gameplay did not work out the way they wanted it to. Because the problem is the arenas are circular.
Okay.
So it's no longer top-down. Everybody gets bullet hell attacks. All characters. Both player and otherwise. So you get these bullet hell attacks, but the problem is they're gated behind energy meters. So you have a certain amount of energy for your main attack, a certain amount of energy for your sub-attack. You have to stop attacking when your energy meter goes to 0. Now, it refills quickly, but it means that it's not as much bullet hell as it is waves of bullets that very quickly end. Bullets do not instant kill you. You have a health bar. So there's not a lot of reason to be worried about them. Both sides can use spell cards, you and your opponent. However, I have never been successful in the game using a spell card against the computer. They just automatically dodge everything and take you down. And the computer consistently gets what they call extend spell cards, which is your health goes down to 0, but you stay alive for a little while, and you have just long enough to use a spell card. That will give you a couple extra seconds of survival.
Border between life and death.
Yeah. And then, when I played Reimu's storyline, I only died once, and there is no difficulty settings. It's just one difficulty, which is, in my opinion, too easy, because if I only died once throughout the entire thing, and it's set up, it's just boss fights. One character after another. There is no anything in between. So it didn't feel like Toho at all. All the things that made it feel, or that would be a bullet hell, it didn't even feel like a bullet hell shooter, to be honest with you. All the things that would make it feel that way were taken out. The only reason you bother grazing or anything like that is to up your special meter, which allows you to do slightly stronger attacks.
It sounds like they wanted to do another Twinkle Star Sprites and then failed miserably.
Yeah, it just didn't work out all that well. Now, it is online versus, so there's that. But I thought the good versus Toho was the one that acted like Bust a Move.
That's right.
Yeah, did you ever play the one that plays like Bust a Move?
Don't think so.
So it's 2 side-by-side vertical scrolling elements, kind of like a regular Toho game. And the higher combo you get, the more enemies it throws at your opponent.
Is this a game? Well, I was going to say Twinkle Star Sprites was based on the same structure, except that it was.
Well, this is one of the 0.5 Tohos. This is actually in the Toho main series. But it's one of the weird 0.5s they always do, where they add new stuff in.
Or they try, like, new mechanics. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it was really good. I really loved it, and I had a lot of fun. Apparently, I was very good at it. I'm not very good at this, so that should give you kind of a comparison. But I was apparently very good at it. I was kicking the crap out of all of my opponents when I played it. Which is weird, because I'm not all that good at those games. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and that's what I was hoping it was going to be like, and it just wasn't. So it's depressing. I have it sitting right next to me.
Just getting wiped out here.
Yeah, I was trying to see if there was a different strategy I could use in that one. Because it looks like there should be a different place you can stand for the mermaid and attack. But it's not one of those attacks where you actually have a safe place to stand. This corner seems to be the only place you can stand safely. And you still have to jump for that second attack. So I'm just trying different things here because I took a couple too many hits when we started the fight. So I was looking for different strategies. Because I feel like there should be some other strategies that just aren't, that are better than what I'm doing now. Like, it feels like there should be another magic I should be using or something like that, you know?
Yeah, but I really don't have anything I can offer as a suggestion.
She's gonna immediately run. Okay. Yep. Okay. Just gotta make sure I'm doing short jumps there. That was close. That was really close. Oh, great, here we go again. Nope. Yeah, it's just hitting my heels is what's going on. Like, I'm jumping plenty high enough, it's just not working correctly. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, it's just not working. There we go again.
Have you tried doing something else?
Have you tried another strategy that doesn't suck? Okay. Giving up again, guys. We'll talk to you soon.